I would like to say welcome to 60 Seconds, Beyond 60 Seconds. I'm your host, Minister Harvey Rhodes. Today I have some young men here that I'm going to have them to introduce themselves to our audience today. I'm going to go with David. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
All right, my name is David Alvin Quinton. I am a coach and a teacher at Parkcrest Middle School in Pflugerville, Texas. This is actually my first year being involved in that, and I have to say that I'm really enjoying it. And I'm also the godbrother of our also guest, Trey Jones, and yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to ask Roy to introduce himself.
Good afternoon. My name is Roy Jones III. Like you heard, I go by Trey. I currently work for the state of Texas in the child care area, and I've been doing that for about 2 years. I'm really enjoying myself doing that.
Okay. All right, our topic today is what young adults say is missing in church. What young adults say is missing in church. Due to the fact that both of y'all have grew up in the church from the time you was born, I got some questions for you, young men. I'm going to start with Roy first. Roy, you're muted. David, then I'll come to Roy. David, do you attend church, and what church do you attend?
I do attend church. I attend Diakonos Ministries based in Austin. It means house and servants in Greek, who the head pastor is A.J. Quinton, who's actually my uncle.
So, Roy, do you attend church, and what church do you attend? Yes.
I attend New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, also based in Austin, where my pastor is Reverend Roy F. Jones II, who is also my father.
All right. All right. Now, Roy, how old were you when you started attending church?
I've been attending church my whole life. Even before I was born, I've been in church. So, like I said, I've been in church my whole life.
Okay. How about you, David?
It's the same, man, as long as I can remember since birth. So that's it, my whole life.
Okay. Now, my third question is, what were your reason for going to church? Now, here's was it because you was made to go to church, or there was something that you liked about church? And I'm gonna start with you, David.
That's a good question. So, of course, it was forced at the beginning, which I feel like it is for a lot of young men and young kids. But as I start to understand what it was and start to realize, the kind of people that I was surrounded by, I started to enjoy it and actually look forward to Sundays and being involved in church.
Okay, great answer. And Roy, we're going to ask you that same question. Were you made to go to church, or there was something in church that attracted you to be in church?
The same situation here. Growing up, we didn't have a choice. We had to be in church all the time. But like David said, just adding on that, when we grew up older and began to come into our faith and learn some of the people we were surrounded by, learn the purpose of going to church, and then it was more so of that.
Okay. Now, Roy, I'm gonna come back to you on this. What ministry were you involved in as a child in church?
I was involved in a couple of ministries since I was young. The first ministry I was involved in was being an usher. I remember when I was little, I liked how the gloves looked, so I wanted to be an usher. So that was my first ministry I was involved in, was an usher. And then also I sang in the choir. And that's about it.
Okay. Thank you, Roy. Now, David, same question for you. What ministries were you involved in as a child?
So as a child, I was involved in basically everything that encompassed the youth ministry. My church, we had Sunday school, which I was actually able to be like an active leader and participant. Praise team or youth choir, and then also a little bit of dancing, a little miming. So that's what I did.
Okay. All right. That's when you was a child. Now you done went off to college, graduated high school, went off to college. As a young adult, what do you feel is missing in church today that potentially preventing you from being a consistent participant? What is missing in church today? Because now you're a young man. So there has to be something that is calling our young men and women to stop attending church once they get at young adult age. So David, what is missing in church?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of layers to it. I think that we are in a generation now where everything has to be quick, everything has to look good on the outside, and so I feel like we're kind of drifting from the spiritual, kind of like, the rituals, the old religious kind of ways, and so now it's like, okay, how does it look? How is it packaged? So I think that, I guess, to start to answer the question would be to there's a lot of churches, mega churches, not mega churches, but kind of like transformational churches that are starting to have shows on YouTube. They're starting to be more accessible online, and they're starting to kind of integrate like the new wave kind of generational things that are influential to our culture. And so I think that if more churches did that, it would grasp and reel back in our generation of kids that, are kind of drifting, young men, young women that are drifting in their faith, because, they want to see something that's relatable. And that's kind of the truth where we are right now.
Okay, Roy, that same question goes to you. What is missing in church? And what would keep you to be a regular participant in church?
I think, like David said, we are in a whole nother era,
Right.
and we're in the social media era. So there's a disconnect, not for all, but for some churches, reaching out to those young individuals on whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Like David said, some churches have live streams that you can click on, some don't. So I think for some of those other churches, it's a disconnect as far as social media goes. And also, like David said, there's a lot of different layers. For some churches, I know it's engagement. So if you have a young individual who comes through the door, I think you have to get them engaged, catch their attention. It could be, and it's different for everybody. It could be the music. It could be the people, the greeters at the door. It could be something as simple as that to make somebody come back again. So, like I said, it's a lot of different things for different people, but mostly just that disconnect from social media. I think, like I said, we are in a new era, so I think that's one of the main ones.
Okay, both of y'all gave some outstanding answers there. Now, I know from knowing you guys from the time you was born, you was in church in the morning, Sunday school. You was at church doing BTU. You was at church at 11 o'clock service. Every time your dad or a mom or somebody had to go sing, you was with them at 3 o'clock service. And to be honest, sometimes you just get burnt out and be in church. I've been there. I've been there because my grandmother went to church all day on Sunday. And when I got older, I said, you know what? I done had enough church. But now I realize how important it is to be in church now as I got older and started to understand. So my next question, do you feel what would attract you more? What I know you gave us some ideas, but How can we bring young people back to church? What activities that we can get them involved in to give us some ideas for pastors and ministry leaders to get more young adults involved in church? I'm gonna start with you, Roy. What ministries?
That is a good question. I'm gonna go back to, like I said earlier, like just getting them engaged. I know sometimes you gotta do a lot more than just church to keep people engaged. But for the younger individuals, I think you gotta have events and fellowship, um, so they can gather more younger people to attend, and also for the people that are attending for them to fellowship with each other. It could be something as simple as and I know we're in COVID, so carefully or after, but just having the young adults take a trip somewhere. A lot of people or individuals have not seen outside of where they're from. So exposing them to something else that they haven't seen, or just a trip. They can go bowling or something like that. Just something to have them fellowship, or you can do a fish fry, anything like that to have them engaged. So I think for me, seeing other younger individuals, you can have a group of individuals that come together and be greeters and greet the young people when they come to the door. Or if you have individuals that come to younger individuals that come to church, you can get a group of individuals to talk with them and say, hey, my name is such and such. Welcome. Just engage and making sure that you attract other younger people. Because I think for some individuals, if you're young and you go to church and you don't see any other younger people that you can connect with or see the same views or relate to, it'll be pretty hard. So I think just those are some of the things that would keep me coming back, and also other younger.
Thank you for that, Roy. Thank you. You hit some very key points there. Now I'm going to go to David. David, what activities? I know Trey talked about a lot of what activities that you think that would attract young adults so they'd be more participating in church.
Yeah, Trey, you set the bar high, man. So he hit some good points. Number one, fellowship, getting out, experiencing things. I think that there's a need for a big push of relatability within the generation. So like for instance, having just a talk time. These are the real things that are happening in life right now with this age group between 18 and 25. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna have like a little social. A lot of events now are social. A lot of events have a lot of social media spread, Instagram, Reels, stuff like that. So having like a social, kind of having some videos that kind of like show what it's gonna be like, just to kind of initially reel them in. Because there's a lot of things that young adults need to talk about now, and I feel like sometimes they don't feel like they have a necessary space to do that in church because they're going to get judged or they're going to be looked at differently. So I feel like having a good space to fellowship, to talk to other people that are going through real stuff like you are. It could be a bowling night, it could be a skating night, it could let's go to so and so's house and have like a little social, or like let's go on a trip, like Trey said. I think that'll be good. And then also the other key point he said was just having other people that look like young adults inside of the church, and having an expression and an acceptance for originality and uniqueness. For instance, Michael Todd in Transformation Church in Oklahoma, like they wear trendy clothes to church. They can wear hoodies and ripped jeans and Jordans and stuff like that. Being able to walk in, not having to put a suit on or a dress on, just feeling comfortable in that space. I think that helps a lot. Just being able to allow young adults now to feel like, okay, our generation is accepted. We're not going to get, looked down upon when we walk into the church. And this is a safe space for us to be able to, worship and to be able to feel connected.
Right. Great. Both of y'all gave some great answers and ideas about being a young adult in church, because there is a gap between the adults and the children. That 18 to about 35, there's really nothing that connects them with each other. And I think we have to do a better job in reconnecting with that age group. And like both of y'all said, which is key, that relationship. When you see young adults gather, it draws more young adults. So we have to go and reach out and grab more young adults and get them involved. Because we got to let them know they are sons and daughters of Jesus Christ also. And there's a lot to be done out there. And you young guys, can get on social media. Y'all know how to work all that stuff. You know how to attract young adults. I got to call somebody else. I got to ask Trey or you, David, to help me get on Twitter and all this kind of stuff because I don't know. But y'all, this is something that y'all do all the time. And I think we just got to be able to tailor our church where we meet everybody. And, I would like to say thank you to David and to Roy. Seeing y'all grow up to be productive young men, still attending church, still doing things for God, and still being blessed by God. Because I remember when both of y'all was in summer camp. Now look where you are now. You're college graduate, one's a coach, one's works for the state. Also, I'd like to thank you guys, and I'd like to thank our viewers for tuning in beyond 60 seconds. If you have any comments or everything, reach out to us. View and like us on YouTube at New Hope ATX. And don't forget to hit the subscription button to be the first to view the new content of Beyond 60 Seconds. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in, and especially my guests. Thank you, and may God bless you.